Well, hello everyone. This is Robert Landau, Live Life Wealth TV host, and this is another episode of Health and Wellness Tips. It is my pleasure to welcome back a special guest who has been gracing these episodes for a number of episodes, and it is truly a pleasure to welcome her back again. Everybody, please welcome licensed clinical social worker Leslie Marchand with Silverado Hospice. But before she even graces the screen with her presence, stay tuned. As we promised, Leslie is back. Greetings, Leslie. Welcome back.
Hi, Robert. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to see you.
It is great to see you. I love when you appear on Health and Wellness Tips. And thanks for being with us today. Today's topic is a fascinating one. We call this episode 3 Steps to Managing Change. And Leslie, I'll let you begin with this very important topic wherever you would like to start. Have at it.
All right. Well, thank you. So this is a practice that I like to do on a regular basis, even several times throughout the day. So it can be something that I use to manage small change or transitions from one activity to the next in the middle of the day. And it can also be used in bigger changes in life as well.
Makes sense. And you know what? I think not only this time, but just about any time, learning how to manage change makes a huge difference, because I think we have one or two choices when change is on our doorstep: to manage it or to resist it. So I'm really glad you're talking about this topic today. So go at it.
That is a wonderful point that you made about managing and accepting and moving with change or resisting it. So the first part, step 1, is to express gratitude for whatever has come before. So if we are transitioning from one activity to another in the middle of our day, or life is changing in a big way, it's just sitting with whatever that previous experience is that we're moving out of, and find something to be grateful for in that experience and to express that gratitude. It can simply be stopping and taking a moment in the middle of the day and going, you know, I really got something out of that. I learned something, or, you know, had a new experience, and it's made me a different person. And I appreciate that I got to experience that activity, whatever it was. So that's step number 1, is expressing gratitude.
I love that. I think in the process of things, we often leave out step number 1, even when it doesn't have to do with change. And here's why I say that. I think it's really important to acknowledge where you've been. Even if you're coming out of a painful, very depressive and lonely period, just to wrap it up in a bow so that you don't carry it with you into the present and into the future, you just, as you suggested, Leslie, say, you know what? That may not have been fun, but thank you. Thank you for the lesson of what has brought me up to this moment, because I believe you can appreciate the present moment and manage it if you're still stuck in the past. So what you have illustrated for us thus far is acknowledging the past, being aware of it, and really not taking it with you into the present. I love that.
Right, so true. And for exactly the reasons that you mentioned, that step is something that I added when I do this practice. Step 2 and 3, the original source of that part of the practice, steps 2 and 3, is a life coach named Brendan Burchard. So I want to give him credit for step 2 and 3. And step 2 is to release tension. So we have expressed gratitude for whatever gift or benefit we received from whatever experience that we are changing from. And now that we've expressed the gratitude for the positive aspect of that, there may be some stress or just tension. You can classify it as positive or negative or neutral, but it's still important to let go of that tension, even if it's just intensity, if it's stress, and making a conscious choice to release tension, release thoughts associated with it. It might be bodily tension. So it might be just kind of doing a squeezing and tensing of shoulders and muscles and then releasing it, taking a deep breath in, or kind of holding and squeezing the breath in the body and then release. Just to let go of whatever has come before. So that's step 2, release tension.
Makes perfect sense. So step 3 is what?
Step 3 is getting ready for whatever comes next. So we're changing from one activity in our day to another, or from one experience in life to another. And step 3 is to set intention. So whatever comes next is set an intention for what you want to get out of that experience or that activity. And it could be, I just want to be fully present. It could be a goal of I want to accomplish something. And I'm being very general because this whole practice, all 3 steps, applies in so many different situations. So you just set an intention that is applicable for whatever the situation is that you are experiencing in that moment.
I love it. So let's use an example so that viewers can see how these 3 steps work in succession. So I'll just make something up with me. So I'm a motivational speaker. Let's just say that I have been booked to speak at a conference, and it is the penultimate event for me during my year. I've been looking forward to this conference. It's going to lift my career into a whole new dimension of notoriety and bookings and all this other type of stuff, right? And then 2 weeks before the conference, and I even know what I'm going to wear, you know, the conference is canceled. And all the promise and all of my future hopes and dreams in terms of appearing at this conference and taking things to the next level have been dashed. And now I'm kind of a wreck. So may not be the best example, but how would you, let's say, work with me with these 3 steps in mind to help me deal with that disappointing change?
Right, right. So when you were talking about the conference and how excited you were, you built up a lot of excitement and enthusiasm for the event, as well as what you're going to speak about and all of these exciting things that may come from it. And those things are still there. So I would start by pointing out the excitement that you have for what you do, expressing gratitude for the opportunity, even though it didn't play out on this particular date. Just expressing gratitude for your career and these opportunities that you have to share with other people, and that you get to fulfill your purpose in life by doing this type of work.
It makes sense. And I like that also because it gets me out of negative inner mind chatter. In other words, I could get myself very easily depressed in this fictitious situation by constantly talking to myself, within myself, saying, damn, I can't believe this happened. This is terrible. What's going to happen with my career now? Nothing's going to move forward because this conference was canceled. And what you suggested breaks that negative thought pattern and introduces something else of a higher vibration in terms of positivity by saying, you know what, Robert, okay, it got canceled. But that doesn't change who you are, and the gift that you've been given to speak. So focus on that instead of the loss. I love that. So
Right.
how would step 2 come in?
So as you're mentioning that, I think an important thing to say is when we have expectations in this example that you gave us, we may be kind of clinging on to something and excited about it. So by expressing gratitude, it's almost like you're loosening your grasp on it. So it's a natural lead in to releasing tension. Because once you've loosened your grasp, you've kind of started to loosen the tension, then you're able to release it. So it simply is whatever works for you in terms of, do you feel like you're holding that tension and that disappointment in your body, or are there still thoughts that you need to release? And just saying to yourself, as you just did, okay, well, it was a great opportunity. It's not going to happen this time. So I'm going to let it go. And shake it out of your body, or, start to shift your mind to something else.
Very important thing to do. Very important thing to do. So then what would step 3 in this scenario look like?
So I can step into your shoes for a moment, and I might be taking a little liberty, but if I were in your shoes, I would set an intention of, okay, that didn't work out. What comes next? And since I know you a little bit after these conversations we've been having, I would imagine if that situation happened, as it has in these strange times of 2020, we wouldn't be having the conversation that we're having right now. Live Life Well TV might not exist. And so you have set an intention to take your gifts and skills into a new venue and offering it to people in a different format. So in that example you gave, that's what I would do. And I'd say you've manifested that.
I love it. So I'm getting that this 3-step process of dealing with change is incredibly effective. It gets you out of the doldrums and actually invites new possibilities into your life. But you have to be the one to do it. It's not going to happen in and of itself.
Right. Yes. And the example that you gave is a pretty big life event. And as we've discussed, it can apply in those situations. In my work, I may see multiple people throughout the day and move from one situation where I visit one family and then go down the hall to visit somebody else, or get in my car and drive to a different situation and visit somebody else. This can apply in any interactions we have with people throughout the day. And I practice this as a way to make those transitions from one situation in my day to another. So that if I've been visiting with somebody, whether it be a work setting or friend or family member, as I walk away from that exchange, I simply express gratitude for that interaction that I've had. I release any tension or just any holding on to that conversation, and I set my intention for the next interaction I'm going to have with somebody else. So it allows me to be really present in the moment as I move from one situation to the next throughout the day, and allows me to adapt to whatever might come.
Very, very well thought out, very sensible. So in closing, give us a quick 1 or 2 sentence review of each step so people can remember. And there'll be a graphic, if it hasn't already appeared, that will help us remember this. So the 3 steps to effectively manage change, once again, are?
So I really like acronyms. And so if we boil it down to 2 words per step, step 1 is gratitude expression. Step 2 is release tension. Step 3 is set intention. And if you take the first letter of each word, it's GERTSI, which if you sound it out phonetically is Gertzi, which reminds me of curtsy, is my little life hack that I use to remember these things to help me practice them throughout the day. So as I walk away from one situation and into the next, I think in my mind about what is a curtsy? Well, it's just a nice little greeting when you see someone else. So I express my gratitude, I release any tension from the prior experience, and I set intention for the next or new experience.
So very vital, so very healthy. It's a wonderful thing to do. But again, it's almost asking us to be our own healer, our own therapist. And I think things are most powerful when we actually do make the choice to work with ourselves. And like I said, change is always on our doorstep. And again, as we said at the beginning of this episode, it's up to us to invite it in and effectively deal with it in these 3 great steps, or just to stand there at the door going, oh my God. And that's life, right?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So Leslie, anything else you'd like to add before we close?
As I often say, just try it, see how it works for you.
Do you remember that commercial? Gosh, I think it was in the late 80s. Wasn't it for spaghetti sauce where they always said, try it, you'll like it, you know? But you got to taste the sauce to discern if you're going to like it or not. Don't leave the sauce on the pasta in the bowl with the meatballs, right? Oh my God, I'm getting hungry now. Anyway, Leslie, thanks again. This really has been wonderful. I'm a big fan of very easy and effective ways to help us feel better. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It's something that we can use very easily in our everyday lives. So Leslie, thank you so much for being with us.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Robert.
And I look forward to appearing on our next episode. But for this episode, this has been licensed clinical social worker with Silverado Hospice, Leslie Marchand, and this has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next episode. God bless.